All right, we are live, everybody. So I was laying my daughter down, and she's laying head on my chest. And when she had her head around my chest, her arms were wrapped around me. And on the back of my arm, while she was laying down, she kept pinching the back of my arm. So I couldn't do any subtle movements because I'm like, okay, if I move, she's going to wake up even more. She's starting to drift off. But she just kept pinching the fucking back of my arm.
Like the fatty underarm part? Like
yes.
My son's 7 and he does that to me if I'm playing Xbox. He'll come over and I'll start doing that. I'm like, dude, do not touch my arm that way.
But I'm trying to rock her. It's quiet, and I just have this just like holding it in. Like I'm just, oh my God, it was so painful. And I'm just sitting there like, oh, okay. It's all good. It's all in my head. That's what I tried to say. It's like, no, it's not real.
It's not you're in the Matrix?
Yes.
That's fair.
It's not real.
Matrix is a fun place to be. I can't believe they're making another one of those movies, by the way, but I digress.
Are they?
Yeah. They are.
Is Keanu going to be in it?
He is.
Love Keanu.
Yeah, he's so good.
Keanu.
I mean,
whoa, I'm in the Matrix.
John Wick Keanu is just legendary. He's
it's so good.
Oh, John Wick is amazing.
So
they can make 70 of those.
I haven't seen any of them.
I saw all 3 of them.
Yeah,
I saw all 3 of them in the span. I saw all 3 of them in the span of like a month because these guys told me to. Watched the first one, bought the second, and then the third one came out on sale. And I'm like, okay, perfect timing. Yeah, all 3 of them.
I feel like he's like a really good-hearted dude, like off the screen too. Just a great guy, Keanu. And
did you see him at E3? Did you see him at E3 last year? Yeah, when he was talking about Cyberpunk, the new game coming out that he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think he pretty much did like 2 sentences on script, and then he just improv the rest of it, and it was awesome. Like he just nailed it.
He is a gem.
An absolute gem, if you will. All right, we ready to officially? I got the show sheet in front of me. Okay, we got some news, not too much. We got a sponsor read, Coolio, and then we'll get into some late round rookies. I got some, so I'm good to go. You ready, boys?
I'm ready whenever you are. Let's get this party started. Shane is already in the chat,
and Carrie Ann Moss. Yes, she is returning as well because she's out of work currently. Trinity is back. Yay! Yeah. It's going to be interesting how they do that. All right. Welcome back to the Dynasty Happy Hour. It's me, it's Tyler, it's Tim, and we have a special guest from the Breakout Finder. We have Mr. Still Ryan 5. Ryan, what is going on, my man?
I'm very excited to be talking some ball with you boys. Nate and I have made a business decision to go to like every other like 2 weeks or 3 week pods. It's a tough time, boys. You know, there's a lot going on outside of football. It's a football dead period, so we just our heads aren't in it. But Nate and I talk daily. And obviously we have a ton of thoughts about football that we're excited to I'm excited to get on here and just talk to you guys.
Wait, you guys talk daily? I mean, these guys just make fun of me daily. I mean, our message chat is like, "Hey, Ginger, like, hey, you wearing your sunscreen today?" Like, that's all it is. It's terrifying.
The first thing I thought about when you said you were outside all day was, God, I hope he put some sunscreen on.
I did not. I had a hat on though.
Well, I mean, if you get burnt, I mean, you'll just be completely red.
It'll just be all freckle. It'll be
he's not even wearing a shirt right now. Actually, that is his skin.
I actually have a Julio tattoo on my chest.
Now that would be impressive.
It's tempting.
No, Nate and I tend to be a little more civil in our discourse, I guess, and we check on each other daily, and we share football and or business related thoughts, and we just keep it moving. But yeah, it's an interesting period right now in football. Obviously, the summertime, the leagues are starting to get going, Scott Fish Bowl and everything else. So things are going to start ramping up over the next couple of weeks. So I'm sure we'll be more active. But I'm excited to dive into the football waters once again with you boys.
Yeah, and I think we're all official now. All 4 of us are in Scott Fishbowl 10 SFBX. I got my invite this week. I was sweating it for a while, and I was like, "Oh man, I've been in the last few years. I really want to get in again this year." Going for that Lincoln Logs division. That's where I want to be.
My favorite part was knowing that you were in and just letting you sweat it out.
Yeah, everyone's like, "You'll get in, you'll get in." I'm like, "Nothing's guaranteed. Like I was in it 3 years in a row. Doesn't mean I'm going to be back for a 4th. Like, you know." So I'm just happy to be in it.
Ryan, throughout tonight, if we ever forget, I want you to explain your guys' Breakout Finder app tonight, because it is awesome. It is sleek looking. I go on it every other day. I love the app. I'm not good with stats and stuff, as we brought up last week.
Yeah, I'm not good with numbers and whatnot.
Come on, Doug. You used to work at Best Buy. Come on, let's be honest.
What is that? What does that even mean?
I don't know. But he worked for the calculator area. Texas Instruments.
TI-83 for life.
But yeah, I want you to kind of explain to everybody what this app is about, what these numbers mean, and kind of guide people to how awesome this app is.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it super high level. I encourage everybody to follow Breakout Finder, follow Nate and myself, follow the pod, follow the website. It's been an interesting venture. You know, this is Nate's baby through and through. Something that him and Russell J. Clay, who writes over for Fantasy Guru, this was their baby years ago, and Nate was able to kind of bring it to the surface. And obviously, we have guys like Matt Kelly of Fantasy Mansion, Roto Underworld fame. He's on board helping push the product. So there's some legit manpower behind it. And this is Nate's vision. And I'm lucky enough to kind of be, on board and kind of help push this thing through. But to keep it super high level. And again, I encourage everyone to visit the website, the Twitter handle, download the app if you haven't done so already. But basically Nate and Russie developed 3 kind of proprietary in-house metrics: the teammate score, level of competition, and the breakout rating. So basically the dynamic score, and all of that comes together, and you're going to get your eventual breakout score. So teammate score, obviously the players, this is wide receiver only at the moment. So this is players that you're playing opposite against. A perfect example was Jerry Jeudy last year. Has what we would consider, a couple of the first round talents next to him: Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle. So basically the way that Nate and Russell looked at it was, it matters when you're the piece of the pie is so much smaller, and you're still putting up numbers like Jerry Jeudy did in his first couple seasons. So teammate score matters. The teammates you're playing opposite against. Dynamic score, which is the most important stat for us. This is the one that we saw, kind of carries over to the league, which is why someone like Lynn Bowden Jr. was the poster child this past season. This is the receiver's ability to be dynamic out of the backfield, be dynamic on special teams, on punt returns, on kick returns, basically impacting the game in multiple different facets. You want players, like the Tavon Austins, like the, again, Lynn Bowden Jr.'s, like the Randall Cobbs. These guys in college were some of the names that, in recent memory that kind of floated to the surface. You want players that are impacting the game at multiple different levels. And then level of competition is pretty straightforward. This is basically, this is something that Nate's really, really big on. You often hear him and Matt Kelly getting into, players that are breaking out, in the Mountain West, or these other kind of smaller divisions of schools. There needs to be some sort of context that gets put behind an SEC breakout versus, some smaller kind of division.
Ashton Dulin or whatever.
Exactly right. Ashton Dulin is kind of the name for sure.
You're telling me like Zach Moss should not be as high as Keyshawn Vaughn?
Again, this is we haven't crossed the running back, the territory yet, but where your head is at with that stuff, certainly competition matters, level of competition matters, schedule matters. So Nate and Russell sat down. They were in the lab, locked away for a year, 2 years, and they, developed these metrics. And obviously we are wide receiver only at the moment, but the plan is obviously to unleash it for running backs for tight ends down the road. But yeah, this is basically an app that helps you guys, helps those that are interested in downloading and partake, and helps you, pick what we would consider, safer bets at the wide receiver position.
Awesome. Thank you for explaining that to everyone out there that hasn't checked it out. Definitely check it out, Breakout Finder. You can check it out on their YouTube page as well. And we are broadcasting live on YouTube, so make sure you search Dynasty Happy Hour and click that subscribe button. If you're on Twitter, you probably see us pop up on Periscope, so come on in. You got questions. We're going to answer them. We're going to see them. We'll answer them.
Doug, why don't you tell them when you open that laptop, what awesome thing could be on that laptop?
Could be on physically on the laptop.
Physically on the laptop.
What could
I
you
can tell you
possibly stick to the laptop?
So
Okay,
I can tell you on
Tim.
the back of my laptop right now, there is a beautiful, very, very high quality vinyl Dynasty Happy Hour sticker on the back of my laptop. There's also one on the back of my Ford Explorer right over my Thanos 2020 sticker. Boom. It's DHH stickers. They're beautiful. Tyler sent me them this week. Super, super nice. Really clean vinyl. Tyler, good choice on whoever the sticker company you chose was, because it's really high quality.
Yeah, the sticker mule, if you guys want to get your own stickers
Sticker
made. But
mule.
yeah, $5. You can just DM me on Twitter. They get sent out right away. I got plenty left. Doug hogged all of them. But there's still
I asked for 2.
But no, there's plenty left, and just hit me up. I'll get you hooked up.
Yeah, you see this DHH logo right here that's on your screen if you're watching live over by Tim. That's exactly what the sticker looks like. It's super. It's nice to see Tim in the studio this week, and I'm not staring at his crotch. So I'm sort of disappointed, but it's kind of a welcome new look.
Let's be honest. You guys enjoyed
kind of
Tim in the
torn.
garage.
You kind of let Ryan down. Ryan, I told him specifically, hey, Tim usually is on mobile. It's just a full crotch shot most of the time.
Awesome.
And that's how I got him in. But now
it's optional, really. Any podcast, but it's past few weeks.
Crotchional? I don't know. I was trying to make a funny word there. It's not really working.
Wow.
So
Doug's been gone a week. He's a little rusty.
My dad jokes are a little rusty, but it's okay. So let's get into some news before we talk about some late round rookie darlings. So there has been a few, a lot of some coach chatter this week, which again, we don't put a ton of stuff into, but you know what? It's the kind of season where we need something to talk about. So let's talk about it. So Redskins coach Ron Rivera recently compared wide receiver Terry McLaurin to DJ Moore. So let's play a little name game here. So McLaurin is currently the 76th overall in DLF Superflex ADP.
Crazy.
So would you rather, and I'll give this one, we'll go to Tyler first. Would you rather Terry McLaurin or Robert Woods, who's at 74 overall at ADP? So 2 spots ahead of McLaurin.
That's simple for me, and it's Terry McLaurin. I think McLaurin could actually step up to a very high-end wide receiver 2 this year. I think he's going to get the targets. I do like Sims, who's there. They took Antonio Gandy-Golden in the 4th round. I think he needs time to develop, but I think it's McLaurin's. It's going to be just target after target going his way. Even if they're over his head. But I do think Haskins probably takes a step forward, even though it may be slight. I do think he does get better. I think they find a connection. Haskins has been working, and that's what you like to see from a quarterback, even though he had a very poor year last year. You hear reports that he's working with teammates. He's been, keeping in shape. He's doing the right things that make me feel McLaurin can take a step forward as well.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I'm taking McLaurin over Woods. So let's go to Tim. We've got Terry McLaurin or Melvin Gordon, whose ADP is currently 71 overall in Superflex.
Yeah, I'm not going with the Mr. Toothpick legs. I'm going to go with Terry McLaurin here. The wide receiver production window is a lot larger than the running backs. We're seeing the running back in this case already on his 2nd team. And like Tyler mentioned, the quarterback is working. He's got a lot to work on there. But Terry McLaurin, I think, with the opportunity comes production, and he's really the only guy that should get a ton of opportunity in that receiving corps. So I don't think anybody else on that team is going to see a ton of targets. So I'll take the guy that's going to soak all those targets up. Be accurate or not, I'll take the targets.
Tim hates Haskins so much.
He's such a mechanical mess. God.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you gonna do? So, all right. So Ryan, this one's gonna be a good one for you. Pull up your Breakout Finder.
Okay,
You got Terry McLaurin or Justin Jefferson, who is currently at 65th overall ADP, so a full 11 spots ahead of Terry McLaurin.
How is that possible? Like, I love Jefferson so much, but
Nate and I were lucky to have Evan Silva, who, for those that don't know, previously Roto World, current, still current fantasy
goat. Kind of a big deal.
Kind of a big deal. Evan Silva stopped by the pod back in early February, and we brought up Terry McLaurin kind of on accident, and Evan came out and kind of paused the show and said, "Listen, whatever you do, just buy Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin's going to rocket ship this year." And it goes back to what Tim was saying about targets. And again, we saw what he did last year, quarterback play aside, and kind of what we might think Haskins could develop into, putting all that aside, what our eyes saw, what the numbers said, man, Terry McLaurin, guys, has the Evan Silva stamp. I don't need to come out here to say anything else, but I am still going Terry McLaurin over Justin Jefferson. I'm not even sure, for me personally, it's all that close either. I just love what McLaurin put down last year, and I think he can continue to kind of grow on that for sure.
Yeah, the next one we got is Terry McLaurin or Le'Veon Bell. I think we're all kind of in the same, that we're going to take Terry McLaurin over Le'Veon Bell, whose ADP is currently 64. The last one that we have here, which I think is an interesting one as well, is Terry McLaurin or Deebo Samuel, who's currently current ADP is 62nd overall. So Tyler, this one's a little bit tougher. I think I'm still leaning McLaurin because I just see a bigger ceiling for McLaurin, even though I really like Deebo.
I'm in the same boat. I'm going McLaurin. I'm still lukewarm on Deebo. The fact that they took a receiver in the first round, that hurts. That I feel like that hurts Deebo a lot more than what people are kind of pushing, because
let's not forget that team wants to be run first as well.
That's true. I mean, Mostert. So the sound of it is Mostert's going to get signed to like a 2 or 3 year extension. But man, give me McLaurin. McLaurin's routes and what you hear from his route running is what you want out of a receiver nowadays. You want him to be a premier route runner. And not only that, McLaurin has 4.3 speed. Like, that's just...
Yeah, and he missed a couple of other long touchdowns during the season. He still ended up with over 1,000 yards receiving in his rookie season with the quarterback situation the way it was in Washington. So, yeah, I like McLaurin a ton. I own him in a couple of dynasty leagues, thankfully. I drafted him in the 3rd round in one of my rookie leagues last year. So that's paid off huge. So I'm super happy about that. It's been a great pick. God, I hate that man. Anyway, so the next note that we have is Coach Bruce Arians said that 12 personnel will be the Buccaneers' base offense. So does this put a damper on the Tyler Johnson / Justin Watson hype? And what do we envision for O.J. Howard in terms of targets? Now, is even O.J. Howard going to be the second tight end after Gronkowski, or is it going to be Cameron Brate? Like, I just don't know what to do with O.J. Howard, to be completely honest. So, Ryan, I'm going to give this one to you. Tyler Johnson, a lot of people love him. A lot of people have loved Justin Watson, good athletic profile. I know he's a Matt Kelly favorite, Justin Watson. So,
definitely.
So it's going to be like, if they run that base offense, do we even care who the wide receiver 3 is for Tampa?
Yeah, this I would imagine, in theory bodes well for someone like O.J. Howard, but O.J. Howard's been it's been tough to kind of really hype yourself up. I mean, obviously those that invested in O.J. Howard certainly invested early, and I imagine you're just holding on to him certainly at this point. If you still have him, you're holding out hope that Tom Brady, the whole Tom Brady narrative with tight ends was always a bit skewed because he played with Rob Gronkowski, who was arguably the greatest tight end of all time. So the drop off from primetime Gronk to an O.J. Howard, whoever he's playing with next, certainly there is that gap there. Now, that being said, again, in theory, 12 personnel, O.J. Howard's going to be a lot more involved. Again, Justin Watson, on paper, you like the spark score, you like the athleticism. Kelly likes him for those reasons as well. Tampa Bay is gonna be weird. I think you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin at the top. Outside of that, I think it's going to be just a grab bag every single week. I mean, Gronk's back in the fold. What kind of player Gronk's going to be now after stepping away from football, coming back into football? Is he in football shape? What
he looked pretty good. he dropped his title in the WWE, and he was in the backyard. He looked like he was in pretty damn good shape to me.
Okay,
so
that's good. That's good. So I think
see.
you got Evans, you got Godwin, and then you got Gronk, and then I would assume again with the personnel they're going to start rolling out, you would assume it's going to benefit someone like OJ Howard versus whether it's Justin Watson or whoever the wide receiver 3 might be in Bruce Arians' chair. So yeah, I mean, kind of like you said, Doug, it's hard to really like and kind of gravitate towards anyone that isn't one of the top 2 wideouts or a Rob Gronkowski for that fact. But I think you have to probably feel the best about OJ Howard. But even that feels like a dice roll of sorts for sure.
Yeah, and in another Buccaneers news, we had Devonta Freeman said the Buccaneers can reach out directly to him if he's looking to negotiate a contract. So what I want to know out of you, Tim, is what would a Freeman signing do to the value of Ronald Jones and Keyshawn Vaughn? And if he signed, how would you rank those 3 players for 2020?
What would the signing do? It would push Keyshawn Vaughn's draft value back to where it should have stayed. In the early rookie drafts, pre-NFL draft, where you were getting Keyshawn Vaughn middle to late second round. That's where
as opposed to the end of the first.
Yeah, that's where I thought the value for Keyshawn Vaughn was. As big of a fan of him as I am. And how would I rank those? I think that Devonta Freeman still got some juice in the tank there. I think he can still play some ball. I think
OJ Howard talk is done, Tim. No juice talk here.
Oh, Tyler.
Wow, you're really squeezing Tim on that one.
But yeah, I would go with Devonta, then Keyshawn, and then Rojo in that backfield.
Oof, Tyler, do you have a rebuttal for that? He's Rojo third.
I would have to see the contract details. If Freeman got a good amount of money, Freeman would probably get the first shot at as a starter, if not the third down back. Keyshawn Vaughn would probably be third, and I think Rojo would be the first and second down back. That would probably be the way I would put it. Like I said, it'd be all about the money for Freeman, and honestly, I don't think it will probably happen.
I don't either.
So I think Freeman's going to be somebody who signs right at the beginning of the season, if not after.
Yeah, I just don't think there's a lot of
camps.
I don't think there's a lot of demand for Devonta Freeman out there. I think Carlos Hyde was lucky he's got a job, to be honest. So I don't think Freeman's in the same boat.
Freeman is so beat up too, like his body, the concussions, the damage. He's just, I feel bad for him. He seems like obviously a great person, and he put in his time in Atlanta, had the numbers, but he just took one too many licks.
It's the life of a running back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's the type of player that if someone else goes down, kind of early season, mid season, you might see him get signed.
Yeah, if someone pops an Achilles or an ACL in training camp, sure, absolutely, and it'll happen because their workout schedules are so wonky right now that like those kind of injuries are going to be more prone to happening. So, so our last bit of news, and I'm going to give this one to Tyler because he talked earlier about the San Francisco 49ers drafting Brandon Ayuk in the first round. So 49ers wide receiver Trent Taylor, who I liked a lot going into last year and unfortunately got hurt. He's running routes. He's making cuts. He's looking pretty good, apparently. He's working out with Jimmy G and some other veteran receivers. Is Taylor a player we're sleeping on, or is that ship sailed with Kittle, Debo, Ayuk all higher in the target pecking order? And who do you have as a better late-round dart throw at Niners receivers? Is it going to be Taylor? Is it going to be Jalen Hurd, or is it Kendrick Bourne?
I mean, I would probably rather have Kendrick Bourne and Hurd over him. I just feel like his time's past. God, he's what, 29? It seems.
I don't think he's quite that old.
He's not, but he's kind of what Jimmy G knows. The white slot receiver.
Oh, here we go.
The lunch pail guy. First
Patriot
one
narrative time with
last one out, and but I mean, they hardly pass. They got Kittle. They got two very good receivers in Ayuk and Debo. Kittle. They throw. Yeah, they'll probably throw to McKinnon an absurd amount just randomly this year just because Shanahan doesn't care.
Hey, McKinnon's looking good in those workout videos with the footwork king. I was like, oh, snap. Look at Jerry McKinnon. He's back. And then he'll get hurt again.
Yeah, it will be fun to kind of see how that situation pans out. But, man, with Trent Williams now, they're just going to run. Just run.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a Niners running back here a little bit later when we talk about some late rookies. So
don't be too hasty.
Yeah, that's right. That is very true.
Oh, man,
all right, so that is going to wrap it up for news. Before we get into these later rookies that we're targeting, we've got a word from our sponsor this week, and it is a good one. I'm going to tell you, it's Dynasty Owner. So if you think you're smarter than an NFL GM, if you think you're the best at fantasy football, now you have a chance to prove it. So Dynasty Owner is the only patented fantasy sports game using actual NFL salaries and contracts. You manage your team from every single level, owner to general manager to coach. Dynasty Owner is for the smart or elite fantasy football player. And if you're listening to this podcast, this YouTube, this Periscope, that is definitely you. So get on board with Dynasty Owner. There's no off season. The rookie draft matters. Free agency matters. Every single contract matters. So you can come do a startup in 2020 using actual NFL players, contracts, and salaries, then improve your team each year with a 3-round rookie draft and by trading players and draft picks. They're going to have weekly prizes, seasonal prizes, and you can compete in the chase for the ring. And if you do need a ring, use code DHH ring. I'm saying a trophy smack. You can get a free one. The mobile app is in development. It's going to actually out now. Tyler's been using it. I still have to download it. I'm terrible. If you're on iOS and Android, rookie drafts are already popping off. Mock drafts are open now on desktop and mobile browsers. So to learn more and mock draft for absolutely free, go to www.dynastyowner.com. So let's do that. Let's go to Dynasty Owner, and then you're going to go to Dynasty Owner, and you're going to listen to this pod, and then you're going to get all these late round rookie darlings that we have. So Ryan, as our beloved guest this week, you get to go first. I'm going to give you the stage. Any position, whoever you want. Who's your number one guy? That's your late round rookie darling. Let's say maybe late round. Let's go like anywhere from round 3 and past that. ADP.
Love it. Well, I'm gonna go with the easy alley-oop here, boys, and I'm gonna say my guy Lynn Bowden Jr. He is the poster child for the Breakout Finder this year. Just what he did. I mean, quarterback play aside, this dude literally stepped in at quarterback at Kentucky and got it done. But just on special teams, out of the backfield,
did he lead the SEC in rushing?
He is, it's cliche to say, but he is a football player through and through, man. He is just a monster. There's no doubt in my mind that this type of player, to me, maybe like a Braxton Miller, but one that, again, I have the utmost confidence that will succeed. I'm not even sure what the comparison is. PlayerProfiler.com draws a Deebo Samuel comparison. So for those that may or may not be a fan, that's where Player Profiler landed. But Lynn Bowden Jr. is a guy that's going in the 3rd round. Lands in Las Vegas. The Raiders,
is he the best quarterback on the Raiders right now?
I'm not. I am a throw my hand up. I am a Raiders fan. I'm not gonna answer that question. I'm not gonna go down that road. Okay. But I will say that the Raiders are in desperate need of some offensive juice, some offensive energy. So he certainly is inserted at the right time. The Raiders also famously talked up, getting Josh Jacobs more involved in the passing game. They went ahead and they drafted Bryan Edwards. They went ahead and drafted Henry Ruggs III. So Bowden is labeled as a running back. But again, we saw what he did as a wide receiver. We saw what he did certainly out of the backfield. So he is a player that, John Gruden, I've been vocal about. My John Gruden kind of projections and analysis and what I think of him as a coach, but he kind of got hot last year. Kind of the first half of the season leading up to the Green Bay game, he was calling some good football. Mm-hmm. So if John Gruden is in his bag and he is calling some good ball, you can see Bowden lined up, in the slot, split out wide, out of the backfield. He's a player that can mix it up and certainly impact the game at multiple different levels. So to me, he seems like a pretty no-brain selection in that 3rd round. I think the Raiders depth chart, and their skill position players, I think there's enough there to kind of get his feet wet very, very early. And again, a player that's dynamic, as dynamic as Bowden is, it's kind of hard to ignore that talent. So I think he kind of makes waves early and kind of carves a path for himself sooner than later.
You have to imagine that Gruden, as soon as that pick was made, immediately started daydreaming of all the different ways he can get him on the field, weaponize him when he's on the field, start drawing up plays, designs. Just there's so many different things he can do with a player like that because he's shown his ability to succeed at all those different positions. He's like, I can line him up here, and then we're gonna run this action to the right. He's gonna slide out to the left. Boom, boom, boom. I'm excited to see what they do with him. That's for sure. There's a million different things that Gruden, I'm sure, is already cooked up for him.
Bowden lines up behind Mariota. Mariota lined up behind Carr, all three in shotgun.
It's a triple shotgun play. Oh my god!
Honestly, we're gonna see some wonky stuff, I'm sure. But as long as the ball is in Bowden's hand, boys, we are flourishing and we are thriving.
There you go.
Yeah, Lynn Bowden currently going 35th overall, according to DLF's ADP for May in rookie draft. So yeah, so he's in the third round. So I like that one quite a bit. And you know that Swiss Army knife, keep you on the field, versatility is always a good ability. So I like that one quite a bit. So let's move it on to Tyler. And Tyler, who you got?
Let me dig deep into my bag, and I'm going to go Donovan Peoples-Jones. And his ADP at DLF is 38. Donovan Peoples-Jones was a guy I loved before draft. He was very, very close to a first-round player to me. I like the tape. A man that's 6'2", 205, 210 pounds that's returning punts. I love that. I love seeing that because it means he's dynamic with the ball in his hands. I know he's drafted in the 6th round to Cleveland, but who do they got behind Landry and OBJ?
Rashard Higgins, bro.
Okay, that ship has sailed. Let it go. Donovan Peoples-Jones is super young. He's a 5-star recruit coming out, and he went to Michigan where they had Shea Patterson at quarterback. Like we all saw Shea Patterson play, right? We all saw.
Yeah, he reminds me of another 4-letter word that begins with SH.
Yeah, pretty much spot on. He's not great, and Donovan Peoples-Jones is a very talented receiver. I think he has a better NFL career than he did a college career. But I've seen him go 4th round, 5th round in rookie drafts where I have a 5th round pick, and I'm staying him up just for the 5-star that he had coming out of high school. The talent's there. He jumped out of the damn building in the combine. I think he's still trying to find a spot to land. He reminds me a lot of Allen Robinson coming out, a guy that's just ultra talented, a good jump ball guy. But, I mean, give me that super late.
Yeah, and I got him at 48th in Superflex ADP. So even later, if you're playing in what should be the new standard Superflex settings, I just put that out there. All right, Timmy, who you got? Don't tell me it's an Eagle.
No, it's not an Eagle. No,
right, just checking.
If you guys don't listen to Trophy Time, go listen to Trophy Time. Doug talked about one of his latest drafts, and there were 2 Eagles that got taken real late in that draft, and I'm not a huge fan of either one of them.
Yeah,
my guy is my first guy is going to be Van Jefferson. Sitting there with the Rams, he was a guy that didn't have ultra production in college, but he made it to the Senior Bowl, and then when people got to see this kid.
Which Senior Bowl? I mean, because he's like 38 years old. So
here we go. It's just like when Cooper Kupp came out at like 25 years old. Everyone's like, oh, God, Cooper Kupp is ancient.
Well, Cooper Kupp's on the last year of his deal, which could open the field up for Van Jefferson as early as next year. I think Robert Woods only has 2 years left on his. The Rams are in cap purgatory. They're going to need to move away from some of these guys. So Van Jefferson could find himself leading this wide receiver core within 2 years. But he got to the Senior Bowl, and you had guys like Cecil Lammey and Sigmund Bloom talking about how from day one this kid came in, just started running his jaw at his defenders, and from day one to the end of the week, backed it up on every play.
He gets that from his daddy, Sean Jefferson. He used to talk smack for the Pats back in the day.
This kid has done nothing but produce against the highest level of competition he's seen, and I expect him to do the same in the NFL. Obviously, the Rams are a very offensive, forward-minded team. I don't think that Van Jefferson is going to just explode on the scene with the established weapons they have there, but I think he can take this first year, soak as much up as possible, and grow in years 2 and beyond.
Yeah, I like Van Jefferson because he's such a clean route runner. Reminds me a lot of Keenan Allen, kind of like a ghetto Keenan Allen. Now, a lot of people knock him for his speed, but I think he was measured the fastest player on the field at the Senior Bowl at almost 22 miles an hour. So there's something there. And I like the opportunity. A lot of people thought the landing spot wasn't good, but you're right. I mean, Kupp could walk. Woods is only there for another year after that. Could open up a lot of targets for Van Jefferson. So I like that quite a bit. So now it's my turn, and I've been banging the drum for this guy. If you don't know this name by now, if you've heard me on a podcast, it's Joe Reed of the Los Angeles Chargers. Dude, the guy is free, in all your rookie drafts. Now, you're probably like, Doug, why are you so high on Joe Reed? Well, he ran a sub 4.5 40. College production, wasn't great until his senior year, but he was a special teamer, had a return touchdown in each one of his years, in multiple years had more than one. 77 receptions last year for only 800 yards. So a lot of close to the line of scrimmage work. But one of the reasons I like Joe Reed for free, not only the athletic profile, the size, the weight, I think he's 6'1", 224, very similar measurables to Laviska Shenault, can be used in a lot of similar ways as Laviska Shenault. So if you like Shenault in the mid to late second round, you love Joe Reed for free. Now, the Chargers depth chart at wide receiver, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joe Reed is literally third, KJ Hill, and then they have one Patton. I can't even remember where he went to school. So if Keenan Allen or Mike Williams goes down, yes, they could sign a veteran receiver, but Joe Reed could have a role in year one. And I think that if you're not drafting him at the end of your rookie drafts, I mean, if you have any left, if he's available in your leagues, he is my highest owned player in my fantasy league, and I've got him on all my taxis. I think this kid could be something. He was a 5th round pick. A lot of people are like, well, what about KJ Hill? They drafted him in the 7th round. Reed's got the draft capital. They can play him all over the place. Really, really like Joe Reed. And I honestly think it's because he's got a boring name. People are like, Joe Reed, is that even a real player? That can't be a real guy.
Deere. Like John Deere.
Like John Deere. He's not sexy. His name's Joe Reed. But you know what? I will own him everywhere, and I cannot wait for him to be a thing. That's all I'm going to say.
And
so Ryan,
with the special teams background as well, he's almost a lock to make the team.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, absolutely. And I like the way that they can use him all over the field. He's a versatile weapon, kind of like a Lynn Bowden. He doesn't have a ton of carries, but that's a role that he could play. Like I said, a lot like a Laviska Shenault. Similar size, big kid, nice weight on him. Give me that guy all day long for free. So Ryan, let's hear your second guy that you got.
So I gave you guys an early third. I was gonna say Antonio Gibson for my second guy, but again, he's probably in that same kind of range as Bowden. So if someone else wants to take Gibson, by all means. The other guy that I kind of highlighted on my sheet here is KJ Hamler. Probably goes mid third, kind of late third, somewhere in that range. Denver certainly added a lot more. Kind of like the Raiders did. I kind of liken a Drew Lock to a younger Derek Carr as well. I think he's got a cannon. And there's kind of
don't put that on him.
There's kind of some questions about his comfortability in the pocket and all this other stuff. So we'll see how Drew Lock progresses, because certainly now with the Noah Fant last year, certainly we saw what Cortland Sutton can do. They add Jerry Jeudy, they add KJ Hammer, they add his tight end Albert O out of Missouri as well. So the weapons are certainly Melvin Gordon out of the backfield, Phillip Lindsay. So the weapons, the skill position players are there for Drew Lock. So Hamler is interesting to me just because I think no matter how you feel about Deshaun Hamilton, I'm not sure, and I say this as a Deshaun Hamilton fan, I'm not sure Hamilton happens as much as I want him to happen. So I can see certainly a scenario where obviously Cortland Sutton's leading the ones, Jerry Jeudy's kind of that 1-2, and then you got someone like Hamler who does something completely different than anyone else on that roster. He is able to go deep, matches up perfectly with Locke and that arm talent, that deep ball. Hamler has the speed. He was hobbled at Penn State, but I know prior to the combine, he came out and said he was kind of like a low 4.3 type player. A lot of the early healthy stuff at Penn State showed he had that speed, showed he had that explosiveness. We saw him on special teams house one against Ohio State, I believe, famously while he was at college. So I think Hamler, kind of adds a different dimension to the Broncos offense. And as long as he stays healthy, and assuming that Drew Lock does ascend or is at least able to kind of take a couple steps forward, I could see Hamler kind of mix in as that kind of that wide receiver 3, with certainly room to grow. And again, he's kind of going in a comfortable range enough for me, kind of that mid to late third or something like that. So Hamler was the second name that I had highlighted.
Yeah, Hamler and Van Jefferson are right next to each other in ADP right now. Hamler's 27th and Van Jefferson's 28th. So right in that ballpark. To me, that's kind of where the tier falls off at receivers.
Sure.
And Ryan's made me have to scratch 2 guys off my list. He's not too often.
He's killing you already. So Tyler, give us your second guy that you got here.
So I don't want to just beat the drum again for DJ Dallas. You guys all know I love him. So I'm just going to, you guys know I'm all for the DJ Dallas train. Go get him. But I'm going to go Cole Clement.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just because
It's almost criminal where he's going in rookie drafts.
it is. It's insane.
I got him at the 504, baby. Like pumped.
So Cole Clement's the 33rd overall ranked in non-superflex, which is absurd for being the first tight end to go. Clement isn't sexy. I get that. But Trubisky loves throwing to tight ends. Yes, he overthrows them. But Clement's a 6'6".
Hey, BDN throws the tight ends too.
Yeah. Nick Foles loves the tight end. And for Jimmy Graham is just an outer shell of what he used to be. He's not Jimmy Graham anymore.
I can't believe they signed him to that deal.
I can't believe it either.
Erroneous.
Cole Clement, I've comped to like Tyler Eifert and Kyle Rudolph had a baby. Like that's Cole Clement. He's super talented. Nobody thought he was coming out this year. Everybody thought he was going back to Notre Dame. But no, he came out, and honestly, I think they're kind of shocked a lot of NFL teams. I think Chicago Bears, they had a lot of needs, and they went tight end when they had 28 of them already on the team, I think, last I checked. But yeah, just Cole Clement, ultra talented, and the fact that you're getting him in the late third almost, give me that all day long. I love that value. Yes, I love Notre Dame, but man, Notre Dame produces some damn good tight ends. And
that is true.
I'm not wrong about that, except Troy Nicholas, who was an absolute train wreck in Arizona. But
that's because he was in Arizona. No tight ends really do well there. So
very true. But yeah, Clement's value is nuts.
Yeah, I think there's most people that were just down on the tight end class in general affected where Komet got drafted. I think people are just like, oh, all these tight ends are trash. I'll just draft them as an afterthought at some point. Because even in tight end premium leagues, I would see him go in even the early third, which I thought was late. Because usually the number one tight end overall, I mean, Komet was pretty much most people's first tight end. And I think it's just getting lumped into this class has really affected his stock. And did you know that the Chicago Bears coaching staff has nicknamed Cole Kmet the Natural for whatever that's worth? Ooh. So
great movie.
Yes, a very, very good movie. Robert Redford all day. All right, Tim, give us your next guy. You might snipe me on this one, I think.
No, I'm going to leave Josh Kelly right there for you.
No swiping.
No, I'll bypass Josh Kelly and I'll go to Quintez Cephas.
I had a feeling you'd go Cephas.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions newly acquired wide receiver. I think if you don't know, in 2018, he missed all of the season due to some off the field things. He was found not guilty, so that's a good thing. But I think that just having that kind of in the background possibly hurt his draft stock a little bit. The Lions here, I think, got themselves a decent steal in the draft. This kid in his last year at Wisconsin, let's remember this is a run first offense there in Wisconsin. He caught 59 passes for 901 yards and 7 touchdowns. So in a run first team, I'll take a guy that's getting almost 1,000 yards. That's for sure. He's probably 4th on the depth chart there right now in Detroit. But we got Danny Amendola. What is he, like 45 at this point? Obviously, Kenny Golladay is going to be, the lead guy there for this receiving core. But Marvin Jones is 30, I want to say 31, something like that.
Yeah. So
Marvin Jones isn't going to be around too much longer. So I think Quintez Cephas, again, another kid that can take this first year. He's going to get a few opportunities, so he's got to make the most of those. But take the majority of this first year and just try to soak up as much as you can from guys like Danny Amendola, from guys like Marvin Jones that have been around the league, and just every chance you get, sit there and study everything Kenny Golladay does and try to figure out how to be more like him. And Quintez Cephas can make a fine Robin to Kenny Galladay's Batman here in another year or two.
So I want to tell people the quote that why am I Okuda, the best cornerback in this year's draft, told Matt Miller that the hardest receiver he has faced was Cephas. And that opened my eyes.
He's physical at the line of scrimmage. He doesn't let you jam him. He'll bring the game to you.
Yeah,
wanna
and
jam
that,
it? All right.
that should open people's eyes because if he's healthy and he doesn't have issues, yeah, he could be a real steal in drafts.
Yeah, currently going 45th overall in Superflex. So yeah, so I like Quintez Cephas. I was able to secure him in a couple of leagues late. Again, you might have to wait on him for a year, and I'm perfectly okay with that. That's what taxi squads are for. So I love those types of players. So I'm going to go with mine. Tim, he told you it's Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly was my mid to late third round running back that I like to try to take every year. It worked for me a few years ago when I took Aaron Jones. There's usually a guy that I like during the process, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to get my guy here. And my guy this year has been Joshua Kelly. I obviously like the landing spot. Austin Eckler, to me, is not a 3-down back. I like Joshua Kelly more than Justin Jackson. Tyler, I know you're a Jackson guy. But I really like Joshua Kelly to handle a lot of work for the Chargers, even in his rookie year. I like his skill set. I like his game. Watching some tape on Kelly, I mean, there's a lot of things to like here. So when you're talking to a running back, especially when running backs are getting drafted off the board really, really early in all our rookie drafts because, you have the big five. And then even after that, you've got Antonio Gibson going, end of the second, early third round. But Joshua Kelly's current ADP is 33rd overall. I got him in our Superflex league, Tyler, in UDPL at the very end of the third round after Darrington Evans, who I don't like nearly as much. So Joshua Kelly for me is a guy that I'm targeting in that end of the third round or maybe even going up middle of the third round to get my guy because I believe that he could pay off even in the first year because I think the opportunity is going to be there for him behind an improved offensive line in a pretty good offense. Give me all the Josh Kelly middle of the third. Absolutely. All right. Well, we got time for probably one more apiece.
Yeah.
Let's Ryan. So this is your last one. So it could be the deepest of the depths.
Joe Reed. I'm excited that someone brought up Joe Reed. Joe Reed would have been probably about as deep as I can confidently go. John Hightower was a guy that kind of popped.
There's a joke in there somewhere. There's a joke in there somewhere.
I am gonna go. What do I want to go here? I got two more names highlighted. I'm gonna go Devin Duvernay. Probably a bit closer to the top of the third, mid third. Whatever it is. I know, Duvernay was a guy that I liked a good bit coming out just as a pure, from a pure prospect standpoint. I had him rated, I thought, decently high rookie wise. And then Uncle Sigmund Bloom kind of talked him up a little bit more. There were some good articles and some good media coverage of the Duvernay pick to Baltimore from, I believe, the gentleman that covers the Baltimore for the Athletic. There's a couple other good pieces too.
It's kind of how he fits hard to replace Seth Roberts, Ryan. I mean, come on.
So the pushback that I got for my Duvernay ranking was obviously they have, certainly Lamar Jackson runs. They want to run first. They drafted. They got guys like Boykin over there still. Hollywood was banged up last year. He should be 100. What if Hollywood's 100%? So I guess the way that I approached Duvernay was, what if Hollywood is just going to, I see Hollywood as a smaller wideout that might be more susceptible to these kind of frequent injuries he had. Famously that list rank coming out. We saw him hobble last year, of course. So I think Duvernay's a pretty good arbitrage play off of someone like Hollywood. Again, this assumes that Lamar kind of continues to grow as a passer. As we saw last year, he took tremendous strides forward. Obviously guys like Mark Andrews benefited from that greatly, but adding someone like Duvernay, I think he kind of fits in perfectly. Duvernay, I believe, also has 4.3 speed, so certainly could take the lid off of a defense a la Hollywood Brown. So again, someone that the road right now might seem a little bit murky, but I think he kind of fits kind of what the Ravens want to do to play to Jackson's strengths as well. And I think that runway could open up if God forbid there is another Hollywood injury or something like that, or someone like Boykin just doesn't quite catch on long term. So I like Duvernay going where he's going. Kind of any higher, top of the third or late second. I'm probably looking elsewhere, but I think where he's going right now, I'm more than comfortable taking him.
Who is your second guy? Just out of curiosity. After you chug your water, I'll buy you.
So a bit deeper was Gabriel Davis.
Okay.
So I I won't speak to him.
You
But
can.
he was
I
he's just someone. I think Baltimore's kind of, again, somewhat similar to Baltimore in the sense that I think that wide receiver depth chart outside of Steph Diggs is more or less up for grabs. So Davis, again, not someone that I rated as highly as Duvernay coming out of school, but someone that I think could, just given where the current depth chart sits, I think there's a good chance outside of Diggs, outside of Smokey, there's certainly a lot of balls to be caught. Again, this, much like Baltimore, again, assumes that Josh Allen continues to take steps forward as a passer. So if you're confident in Josh Allen, outside of his ability on the ground, being this kind of dynamic, Konami code type quarterback, if you think that he's going to continue to grow and ascend as a passer, I think Gabriel Davis going where he's going. I think Gabriel Davis might be kind of a mid to late fourth rounder compared to where Duvernay's going. So he was the second name that I had highlighted.
Yeah, currently Devin Duvernay is 31st overall in your Superflex, and then we've got Gabriel Davis is 49th, so he's a couple spots before Joe Reed. So that's a good deep one. Absolutely. Yeah. So Tyler, empty the clip here. You got one guy, you got two guys. Just try not to talk for too long.
All right. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna honorable mention Dalton Keene, just because watching him play is awesome. Like he's a utility knife for teams, and he's going to kind of be that Aaron Hernandez type player for the Patriots, and I think Bill is going to really like having him back. My deep dive, I'm going to go a little early since I went pretty deep with the other ones. Anthony McFarland, I think is just a different running back for that team. I mean, you got Connor, you got Samuel, and you got Benny Snell. Snell, my bad. Whoops. But you've got those guys that are more ground and pound type. James Conner has like 4 back muscles now, and we'll see how that works. But McFarland, when I watched the tape, now Tim gave me a worksheet when we watched tape, and we had to rank these. And McFarland's agility and burst score was off the chart. It was one of the best ones I scored. And his tape was so fun to watch. Like you go to 2018.
On a crap offense in Maryland.
Yeah, you go to 2018. The dude killed it. Like he was so good. You have Travis May talking about how much he loves McFarland. I think he lands in a great opportunity. I mean, Connor hasn't been a great health. And Jalen Samuels is, I mean, he's okay. He's kind of a jag. He's as much as I like him, he's just a guy. Yeah. McFarland's special. He has some special talent. He's got speed. He's got the agility, and he reminds me so much of Devonta Freeman coming out of the backfield. Just the burst. He sees the hole and hits it. He goes right at it. And Devonta Freeman, I know he's got the concussions, but that's part of the reason because Freeman used that acceleration that he had and just went right towards the hole. I think McFarland could be a steal in the early third rounds where I've routinely seen him go, and I know DLF has him more in the late second, but I've seen him go more towards the early to mid thirds, which in my opinion is a value. And if you don't have him, go out and get yourself a share of him, because this year out of all years, I've been big on just try to get shares of everybody late in drafts, because I have a feeling a couple of these guys are really going to hit. I have a lot of Darrington Evans who I would have picked, but you guys all know I love him. I think he could actually be in PPR scoring. I think he could be within 100 points of Derrick Henry. And I don't think it's insane. Henry had 18 catches last year. I think Evans could have along 50 to 60 catches. I think Evans is going to be a good player, like a Giovanni Bernard type player. He's got speed for days. I like him a lot. I think he's also a good late round pick.
All right. I'm going to go next. I'll let you wrap us up, Tim.
All right.
So people don't want to hear me end and then go into the closing. That's just not fun.
That makes sense. Let's go.
I'll give you a couple of mine real quick. I actually like Harrison Bryant. He's currently 58th This guy won the Mackey Award last year. A lot of people in the industry had him as the number 1 tight end. Now he slips in the draft. He goes in the 4th round to Cleveland. So people are like, great. They just signed Austin Hooper to the richest deal in history at tight end. They still have David Njoku, who they picked up his 5th-year option. So Harrison Bryant is the 3rd tight end on the depth chart. Well, it looks like Cleveland is going to be running a lot of 2 tight end personnel this year, from what a little birdie told me was Stefanski. So this might not be a year 1 play, but I don't think David Njoku is going to re-sign with them after his 5th year. So if you have Austin Hooper and then you have Harrison Bryant, and he's pretty much free in all your rookie drafts too. So if you're looking for a guy that you can sit on for 1 year on your taxi, and then he could be fantasy relevant in year 2, maybe even year 3, like Harrison Bryant, for the cost that it's going to cost you, is not really that much at all. So that's why I like him as a kind of that freebie dart throw. Another guy that I like is I do like Devin Asiasi, just because he went to the Patriots and they literally have nothing on the depth chart at tight end. Matt Lacoste and Ryan Izzo aren't getting the job done. So you've got Asiasi and you've got Dalton Keene. Maybe they're the new Gronk and Hernandez, like Tyler alluded to. Who knows? I was actually surprised the Pats picked Asiasi, but then I looked at his profile and I'm like, all right, he's 6'3", 257. He's pretty athletic. Like, he can block. Like, all right, maybe we're on.
Okay. Let's see a C.
Let's see a C. So maybe we yes. So maybe we're on to something here with him. He's currently going 42nd overall in DLF, ADP, and Superflex League. So those are a couple guys that I like to try to acquire late in my drafts. So Tim, wrap us up here. Who you got?
Okay. First guy I had listed down here is Tyler Johnson. We kind of talked about him earlier. There were some people that were really, really high on him before the whole scouting process started, with the All-Star games and combine and all that. I think there's a little bit of some off the field or personality issues that kind of slipped him down the rankings a little bit. But obviously, if Tampa's planning to play, that 12 personnel more often than not, he probably won't see too much of the field to start the season. A kid that up until a few weeks ago, especially in Superflex drafts, I was moving back into the end of the 4th, end of the 5th rounds to grab him. That was Anthony Gordon for the Seattle Seahawks. They have signed Geno Smith now at this point, so that's kind of gone to the wayside. But before this, it was just him and Russell Wilson on that depth chart at the quarterback position. And if anything happened to Russ, this kid was going to kind of be forced to the field. He's got some arm talent. I don't think he's a very great quarterback prospect, but a kid that could possibly see the field and has a little bit of arm talent, I thought was worth that late, second to last type pick in a rookie draft. That's for sure. But the guy I'll kind of highlight here, and Ryan already spoke to this team a little bit, but James Prochet out of SMU, the Ravens took him, I want to say, in the 6th round of this year's draft. He ended his college career with just under 1,200 yards in his junior season and over 1,200 yards in his senior season. So great production, even though it was a smaller conference. What is that? The American Conference? Is that what SMU's in? Anybody know? Anyways,
No idea.
But yeah, two 1,200-yard seasons to end his college career there shows great hands. He can live in the middle of the field, and really that's where Lamar Jackson's kind of lived with his passing profile, at least to start his career. Obviously, we do expect him to expand that and grow. That's only going to do things for the rest of the players on that team. But Ryan also mentioned, if Hollywood continues to have the lower extremity injuries and nicks and bruises and pulled muscles and soft tissue issues, it's only going to lead to guys like Devin Duvernay and James Prochet to see the field. Boykin, there were plenty of people that were absolutely in love with Boykin, but if he does not grow and develop, one of these other guys is going to see the field. And I think with a guy like Prochet that's going to live in the middle of the field, live between the hashes, that's really where Lamar's eyes seem to go first. So that could only possibly mean good things for James Prochet. So he's a guy you can get late in your drafts. We're talking end of the 4th round type players. And, just throw.
Yeah, well, Tim's internet is going back to dial-up on AOL. I will go back to Prochet, and talk about how Tim, you brought up Cecil Lammy and Sigmund Bloom.
Mhm.
They brought up Prochet and saying he has a little Emmanuel Sanders type game to him, where he's a great route runner, great hands, and a hard worker. Just derailed with a really bad injury. I'm not quite sure what it was, but what they said was, the injury was pretty much what dropped him out of the 4th or 5th round. And I've snagged him up after drafts. I like the profile. Yeah, it all just depends on if Lamar can take that next step.
Absolutely.
If he's got the toughness of Sanders, that's going to be great things for him.
Yeah, he is one tough SOB, that Emmanuel Sanders, that's for sure. And speaking of one tough SOB, Ryan, thank you for joining us this week on Dynasty Happy Hour. The stage is yours. Tell us where we can find you. We always talked about Breakout Finder at the top of the show, but let us know all the stuff about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So at StillRyan5 on Twitter. I'm not as active right now as I normally am, but as the summer months kind of push forward here, boys, we'll definitely get some more thoughts going. I'm trying to polish up my redraft rankings right now. I'll be getting out quarterback, I think, tomorrow, Monday morning. But yeah, follow the Breakout Finder, man. The app is out. The website revamp is kind of the next on the docket, so that should be happening in the next month or two. So we'll be looking real spiffy over there. We're trying to push some Devy focused content, some dynasty focused content, of course. Follow my boy Nate Liss at An Outraged Jew. He is again the Breakout Finder is his brainchild. So I am just here helping spread the good word. But yeah, my Twitter, the website, the actual Breakout Finder Twitter as well. Everything that I am pushing could be found in one of those 3 spots. So gents, I sincerely appreciate the invite and the invitation to talk some ball.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. I just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Dynasty Owner, as well as Trophy Smack. Make sure you use code DHHRING to get your free championship ring when you get your trophy. It's never too early to get your trophies for your leagues. I know Scott Bishbowl invites are still flowing, so people are starting to get in the mood of all bringing their leagues back and everything. Mm-hmm. So definitely go on Trophy Smack. Use code DHHRING. Check us out all over the place. You got YouTube. You got Periscope. Tyler's got us everywhere. We're going worldwide. It's going to be like Prestige Worldwide.
Prestige Worldwide.
Black leather gloves. Oh, man. So thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tyler. And once again, thank you, Ryan, for joining us this week. This has been the Dynasty Happy Hour, and we'll see you next week.